Daniel Stern in the 80s, he said it's not that simple. He said this impacts on this, which impact basically goes backwards and forwards. This is the key bit that will build into it. Katerina Moffat said this: we can't influence A, but you can influence B. So you can't change how somebody's born, how somebody's wired. You can change how you parent, and you can change the trauma they experience and their environments. So you can change how you parent, you can change how you teach, you can change how you employ. You cannot change the person. Which fits with Tony Attwood. Tony Attwood, we call him the godfather of autism. He said this, he said autistic children are like flowers in the wrong soil. Yeah? You can... Of course it's Ace, isn't it? He's a top dude, isn't he? Yeah. So you can throw fertiliser at them. You can, you know, I don't know, put a stay in or whatever. You can tell I don't do gardening. Whatever. You can talk to it like Prince Charles. Will you please grow? Or, oh yeah. See me after. So, what we could do is just replant them. Okay? So, if we change their environment, so the flower, if you put it in the right soil, it will flourish. And that's what we've got to do. Part of that flourishing is changing how we parent. Yeah? And that's part of it. It's also changing how we educate them. If we change all that, if we have people in their life that get them, they will flourish. Your kids will flourish. Sorry, I'm just thinking what's up ahead. Okay, I'll come back to the one bit of that. Yeah, there you go. There's the wilted flower. So there's our kids at the moment in mainstream school with a lovely teacher telling him he's an idiot and he needs to try harder. But if we get the right teacher, there you go. And that's obviously, I mean, I've heard a few stories today. I heard one this morning my wife was telling me about. That's what we need to do. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some amazing teachers. And I'll talk about systems in a bit, but the problem is, if the headmaster's an idiot, then the good teacher will wilt and give up, because that's the politics. Yeah, if we say our children, I mean, you hear this, don't you? Any of your children have challenging behaviour? Yeah? Don't they? Oh, well, yeah. It's interesting, when we describe someone as having challenging behaviour, what do we think about them? They're naughty, yeah. They're a little shit. That's it. Sorry, I can relay a story to you. As you can tell, I swear. And I remember when I was courting my wife, I was out in March.
You sound old.
I am old. I'm nearly 50, people. Come on.
55. Shut up.
Okay. So my mum says that. I go, you know, well, go play bingo. Old people do that. I go, you're 70. I'm not old. Do we just keep deferring it? Yeah, I don't mind saying I'm old. I'm quite looking forward to it because pretty soon there'll be nothing. There'll be peace. Oh, sorry, that sounds really doing, but I'm quite looking forward to that. You're always depressed now. I'm very laid back, very Buddhist about it. See, you know, it's all good. But yeah, but what if we said they're stressed? Does it make us think differently about it? Think about it, right? If your children are kicking off because they're naughty, evil, and they've got to learn, right? You think one thing about them, yeah. But what if you go, actually they're kicking off, they're throwing the desk at your head because they're stressed? Do you think differently about them? You should do, shouldn't you? Yeah. And actually, that's what the research now says. That there's research that says that our children and you as families go through the same stress level as combat soldiers. Yeah? That's why they're kicking off. Because they're stressed, not because they want to ruin your life. I mean, I struggle with social anxiety. Oh, we're all right for time, it's only 8:45. No. Better check it. He'll be twitching in a minute. It's all right. Yeah, he's going to tell me, go, answer. So it's just, so I struggle with social anxiety. But people don't understand that because they go, hang on, you're really kind of a bit loud and like that now. Yeah, because I'm in total control. Yeah, if we were all in the pub, right, I wouldn't say anything. Seriously, I wouldn't know what to say. My wife knows everyone where we live. I don't know anyone. Seriously, I don't want to know anyone. Best thing ever was my hair falling out. Why the hell would I want to talk to a barber? Well, no, they talk at you, don't they? I don't care about your kids and where you're going on holiday and all that bull that you talk about. It bores me. When I sit in my car and wait for my neighbour to go in because I don't want to engage in the conversation. I'm done. I'm like, really? What would I want to talk to you for? Because then they always quote what's in the Daily Mail, and that really does my head in. Because it's like, because then you can't argue, you're supposed to go with them, aren't you? And yeah, I just can't be bothered. See, you're going tick, 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 tick. Are you sure? Although, maybe I'm neurotypical and I've been liberated. Maybe Joe's liberated me, the freedom fighters. And I'm going, yeah, that's the way. Autistic thinking is the way. Maybe it is. Maybe if I think if the world was built by autistic people, it'd be a better place. Yeah. There'd be no cars in this country that would go over 70. And if you revamp your car and it goes over 75, it's taken off you and crushed. That would solve the speeding problems. Yeah, if you caught with a phone in your car, just lose a hand. You'd soon stop. I'm not joking, actually. So that's my brain thinks like that. So if we say they're stressed, so let's briefly look at that. The concept of stress came about in World War I. It was the first time we talked about it. And you probably know the one thing. Some of our soldiers started acting a bit peculiar. Some of them ran off. Some of them developed tremors. We also used planes for the first time. Some of the planes would drop their bombs on the way back. They'd fall out of the sky. And that's a bit, well, what the hell's going on there? We've invested all this money. Initially, we solved that problem very negatively, didn't we? We shot them.
At dawn.
At dawn, yeah. Okay, that's a valid bit of information. He's thrown me. At dawn. Get it right. It wasn't at midnight, it was at dawn. Okay. Tick. Come on, you and me both. Let's go together. Arm in arm. Come on, Doc. The problem is, I've done that AQ online. I either score not high or high. It depends how I decide how I want to answer it. It's really interesting. But yeah, so we shot him. But then, halfway through the war, we sent him away to long-stay hospitals. And guess what? The behaviour totally dropped away. And then we started saying, okay, initially we blamed the shells, shell shock syndrome, the pounding of the shells. But then we said, is it physiologically that they can't cope with stress? And that was when we started talking about stress. Now, it's perfectly normal to talk about combat soldiers and PTSD, isn't it? And that's what they're saying now within autism. A lot of the behaviours are almost like PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So the meltdown is the classic example. My friend John, some of you have met John Simpson, he says every day for him, it's the same stress levels as you going to a job interview. Imagine living with that stress. And that's the difficulty that you get. Now, this is Bo's work. He talks about, this is a graph, okay. So here, this is our normal parameters for every day. We all give off warning signs that we're stressed, and this is chaos. Okay, so this is us in the garden on a nice summer's day. Yeah, with your phone switched off. While they're at school. Although you probably won't know. Okay, now you and I all give off warning signs that we're stressed. So did any of you, when you were driving here, did any of you get so far and turn your music off? That's what I do. So any of you go to park the car in a strange place and turn the music off? Yeah? Do any of you tell the kids to shut up when you're about to park? That's a warning sign that you're stressed. Shut up! Mommy's trying to concentrate. Shut! Yeah, you might do the arm of wisdom. Yeah. You do that, don't you? And then put it on the back's head so you can look. That's a warning sign you're stressed. Now, Bo has identified things people do when they're stressed, and it's really interesting because a lot of us would look at this with our children and say, oh, no, that's challenging behaviour, but I think this is really interesting. So, these are positive, they warn you. Let me just say this though, I think this is the biggest problem though. Right, going back car, you take your car to the garage for your service, okay? When you pick your car up, there's a massive dent in the door that wasn't there before it went in the garage. Would you challenge the mechanic? Yeah. But he takes you to the front of the car and says, oh, well, there's a dent, but you knew you put it in last week when the kids were making too much noise and you couldn't concentrate and you reversed into the bollard. Okay? So he basically says, because there's damage at the front, it doesn't matter that there's damage at the back. Is that acceptable? No. But what happens is this is really important, and this filters across. If you are a child, You are not allowed to express yourself. You have to be compliant. You are not allowed, all these things you do, but your children are not allowed to do them. This is the saddest of the saddest. If you live in residential, you are not allowed to do them your entire life. You have no control. The best way to describe it, Andy McDonald from a company called Studio 3, I'm a big fan of Studio 3. There is a clinical psychologist. He said that the way you deal with stress and anxiety is by getting control over your life. Okay? So the more control you have over your life, the better equipped you are to deal with stress. And there was a study done with management. I mean, it might come up in a minute, but there was a study done with middle management, and they found that CEOs, although they have more stress, because they have control, they can combat the stress, whereas the middle managers are more prone to heart disease because they have no control. Think how much control your children have over their life. They're told their entire childhood what to do, when to do. Now, what happens with individuals with autism is this. When they break away and become their own person, they'll flourish. They will. It's because they're under the tyranny of mum and dad and school. You know, it's a bit, you know, and teachers say this, don't they? Well, people do this when they want to conform. Yes, Lee, but the world's not like that. Yeah? My world, I control my world. Yeah, I know you're getting that, okay, I do what I want when I want to do it. Yeah, I've got to go to work, but beyond that, if I want to go home tonight and spend 3 hours watching Now TV and playing PlayStation till midnight, I can do it. No one's going to tell me what to do. I've done everything I need to do. Can you see I have control? Deborah Lipsky, brilliant book, Anxiety to Meltdown. She's autistic. She's married to a neurotypical person. Every week, every Friday, she goes to the same pub. Every Friday, she eats the same food. Every Friday, she has a good meal. Her husband's neurotypical. Every Friday, he tries different food. Now and again, he complains. And she said, he's the one with the problem. She loves Christmas. In her front room, all year round, she's got a Christmas tree. Can you see? You can do, your house is how you want it to be. You control your life. You do what you want when you want to do it. That's what I'm saying. Your kids, when they're freed from that, the ultimate test is, would you go live back with your parents? Yeah, most of you would say no. Why not? Because they'd make you live that life that they wanted you to live back then. You're allowed to make your own choices. My mum, bless her, Mrs. Soprano. We joke about that in the house now. We go, it's Mrs. Soprano. Just watch The Sopranos, season 1. You'll see my mum. Tell you what, we was talking about Mrs. Soprano. Yeah, my mum. So last year we've been married 20 years, and my mum said, "I didn't think you'd last 20 minutes." Yeah.
What was I going to say now? Your mother, was she the suffragette of the family?
Interesting. No, I just said, well, my illusion was that she was suppressed by my dad because he was just man's man, yeah? And then when he died a few years back, I thought, great, I'm going to now build this relationship. Oh my God, she was the force. She was worse than him. And I went, oh God, there is no relationship here. See, I don't want this. But honestly, it was a real shock. I really thought she was, unless she was moulded by him, God knows. And interestingly, control. See, that's the other. It's really interesting. Again, you know, because I know I'm not anti-family, by the way. I think if you've got a great family, hold on to them. The people that you care about in your life, keep them close, but just push the ones that are no good to you. Yeah.
Did your father? Did your mother and father have friends?
Not really, no. I mean, Dad was an engineer. And I upset my mum the other month when I went, do you think he was autistic? And she went, how dare you? And I went, well, it would explain a lot in our life. Possibly, I don't know. I mean, maybe. Interestingly, my friend Aaron has a theory, okay? Basically, with high-functioning adults, a lot self-medicate with alcohol and drugs, okay? His theory is, most blokes that are constantly in the boozer are possibly on the spectrum or have anxiety disorders. Because alcohol lowers your anxiety. No, I think there's something in it. I really do.
No,
you know, your husband don't say boo to a goose, but after a beer, he's life of the party. That's an anxiety. That's me. Yeah. Or give me a stage and whoosh, off I go. And then I'll just leave it totally quiet. And you can talk to me, but you'll lead the conversation. Yeah. I mean, possibly. But what, interestingly though, actually I should have said this earlier. What I found was the minute the problems with my mum and dad only started to happen. Okay. As far as I know, they were reasonably okay with me being that version that bullied my kids. Okay? But the minute I started to look at my behaviour and change, they started going, "You're acting weird." My sister thinks I'm this kind of freak of nature on Facebook because all I ever do is bang on about autism rights. And she's like, what's the matter with him? Because she's in this bubble of normality. Is it, I have no idea. It's really interesting because, again, it's fascinating because we just... well, my dad's idea was, but he used to say things like, I don't want any of you living close to me. I don't want to be like the next door neighbours when the kids are around all the time. And he'd say things like that, right? And then, well, he got his wish. So we'd rock up once a month. And then it's really difficult for my mum now because she suddenly wants this close family. And I'm going, that ain't happening. I've spent 20 years being independent, not needing you, and you want me to come round now. It's really, really difficult, you know. Yeah, so just be careful of your parent because it'll come back and bite you. So if you tell your kids to move away, they will move away. Yeah.
You should tell your sister if I met her
Yeah.
that I'd say it doesn't really matter because you are changing people's lives because you was the first person that accepted me for me.
Oh,
So
bless you, Joe.
Stick it to her and tell her.
Stick it, I'll tell her. But the irony is, this is interesting, it gets more deeper, her granddaughter's just been diagnosed. And all I kept thinking of is, I'm just waiting for the phone call. For this freak of nature to help. Because what I'm trying to say is this, I had to save my family. If I'd have stayed as my dad, we would have split. Because, I shouldn't have been around them kids because like I say, I look back now and go, oh my God, this person I didn't know I was bad, but I was bad. But I changed, and like I say, with Jaden...
You had no choice but to change.
Well, I chose to change. I could have just been like quite a lot of men and just stuck my head down and carried on. But my wife would have left me. She wouldn't have tolerated that. My kids would have hated me, you know, kind of thing. But I wouldn't have known. That's it. I'd have been going, why me? But I changed through choice for Jay.
But Jay's the autistic.
Yes.
But you see, you had to change because it was not going to get anywhere unless you did change.
That's right.
And your marriage was not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. So that was it. So the minute I changed and the household started to function, the other relationships broke because I was starting to. I was questioning the world. So, you know, my mum's generation, total faith in teachers, total faith in GPs, yeah? You know, and how many of us now, half of us are sat there now going, bloody idiots. Yeah, it would be lovely to trust them, but, yeah.
Did you change it sooner than you thought, or was it when you realised?
No, that was the hard thing. It took, my wife grasped it quicker than I did. I did the bloke thing. He'll be all right. He'll catch up. Just a little bit slow.
So it was when you knew there was something not quite right.
Yeah.
That's when,
Yeah.
because up until then, you just told me what the norm was.
That's exactly right, yeah. And then I went, oh my God. And then because I started to go, let me alter, let me change.
People couldn't parent Jay as the way that you were Jay.
No, that's right. And then my kids went, you treat him differently. And I went, I'm sorry, I did, but I didn't know. I would have parented you differently. I said that to my daughter. She didn't need a foot up the backside. She needed a hug. She needed me to tell her I love her. But my dad never did none of that with me. And it's only now, and I'll do that now. But somebody, that's what I'm saying, somebody, the sins of the father become the sins of the son. At some point, that person has to say, I'm not doing that. But I think you've got to be very self-aware to do it, yeah.
Isn't it very hard because you never really love cuddled your mother, you never really loved cuddling your father. And to do that to your own child is somewhat strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you don't know any better, do you? Although, you see, interestingly, I did with my kids. I mean, I did that, but I was also ultra hard. But even now with my son Jay, when he's 21, and I'll go, do you want this really, so we have a really inappropriate relationship. Our language is really bad with it. We're like friends. And I'll go, oh, Jay, do you want a hug? And he'll go, and I'll go, see, I don't react to it. It don't bother me. Whereas that story with my dad, he got me up the wall by the throat. Do not swear in front of women. And I laughed and went, oh, are you serious? Because that was the generation, wasn't it? But it's interesting, the whole point of that story, and I could also give you another story how he beat me really bad and my feet dropped and I wet myself and he picked me up because I told my sister to F off. Okay? Can you see how that actually helped me not to swear? It didn't, did it? You see the point? All it did was traumatise me that I tell that story. And then my mum will go, you only remember the bad things. And I go, because you traumatised me, that's why. Yes.
Sorry, I understand that because my father pulled a knife on me.
Okay.
Which is very similar. And I wet myself as a child.
Right, yeah.
And my father did used to beat me and whip me.
Yeah.
And he demanded respect.
Yeah.
And
that's the whole point. You see, this is where your teachers are messed up. You don't get respect through demanding it. You earn it. If you're a great teacher, you will automatically get respect. If you are a great parent, you will automatically get respect. If you're an idiot, you won't get respect, you'll get fear. And I always have this definition of respect. For me, if I respect you and I walk through that door and I see you being beaten up and you're in trouble, I will help you. If I fear you, I'll look through the door, see you beaten up, and I'll walk the other way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Our older generation have this distorted thing on respect. You earn it. Honestly, that when I talk about Bowen, I have immense respect for it. I sit there and go, wow, I love this. I want to learn. I want to be that person. You make me want to be a better person. That's how you get respect. Not demand it. You will respect me. Honestly, and I do think that every generation then does the same thing, and kids that it's respect. It's not. Honestly, it's really important. But going back to this. Say no. How many of you say no to get out of situations that you might be a bit stressed about? Yeah, quite a lot. Yeah, a lot of the boys with autism say no, and it keeps you safe. Like I say, we've got lovely neighbours. They've had 2 house parties. I haven't gone to one because it stresses me. Because I know I'm going to be the one in a room with 50 people, not knowing what to say, unless somebody saves me by going, "Oh, you autistic people, don't you? My nephew's autistic, going to talk to you." And I'm going, "Thank you." And I'm okay, and then they talk at me, I don't talk to them. Because I always say the wrong thing anyway. And then lying, that's an interesting one. Do any of you lie?
Little white ones.
Yeah, little white ones. We lie all the time, come on. I bet you lied in December, didn't you? Yeah. Told your kids about this magic man that's going to appear and... Yeah? Oh, Lee, but they're different. They're different lies. You know, if you stop by the police and they say, "Do you know how fast you were going?" Do you tell them? Or do you go, "No, officer"? So when my wife, says, "Does my bum look big in this?" I go, "No." And that's interesting. Every time I lie, I go high pitched. They go, "No, it's fine." If at work they go, "Is there a problem?" I go, "No, I'm lying." I'm not going to go, "Yes, there is," and it's with you. We lie, and actually, Bo said this in his lecture for Autism West Midlands, which is brilliant. He said this. He said that there was research published in Denmark last year that says we need to teach autistic children to lie. Yeah? See, I love that because people go, "Oh, what?" No, they get into trouble. I'm brilliant at lying. I never get caught lying, and I lie all the time. The only problem with your kids is they're rubbish at it, and they get caught. Same with manipulation, yeah? Do you ever hear that? Always trying to manipulate people. Come on, you're manipulating your other half all the time. I manipulate people. It's a skill. To get through life, you've got to be a good liar and you've got to be a good manipulator. Seriously, they're quality skills. But our kids are just really bad at it. It's like the kid, I don't know if you've seen the video when the kid is 4 and he writes on the window and the mum says, "Who did that?" And he went, "Batman." That's a good lie for a 4-year-old. I had the argument with my daughter because she was upset and punishing her daughter because the daughter was lying. See, I am like this total hippie. I'm going, no, it's good, just teach her to lie properly. And she's going, oh! Because that's what we were all taught, wasn't it? And that's, see, this is the transition. When we're all at primary, neurotypicals, right? You're taught all these lies by your parents, and then you get to secondary school, and you realise everything your parents have told you is a lie. So, honesty is the best policy. My son, he went to Selly Oak Special School, and the first week of special school, he went into the toilet, and there was a lad smoking, and he went and grassed on him to the teacher. And the teacher said what a good boy he was. When he came home, I said, Jay, next time you see someone smoking in the toilet, keep your mouth shut. Because you and I know this is important social, this is really important. Sometimes doing the right thing is the wrong thing.
I had to do that with my daughter. She was doing the choir, and someone was doing something. You know, the whole school was singing, and she pointed out afterwards to the music teacher that another child was doing something else.
Yeah.
There was other kids around. Me and the dad just was like, "Any man coming in?" And I had to explain to her that by doing that, you're going to get yourself singled out for doing that.
Yeah, yeah. Teachers love these kids, by the way, because they're the grass.
Yeah, they go.
They're on the board doing that. Somebody throws the paper. Who did that? The autistic kid goes, she did. These are the kids that get bullied. So you want to start banging on about honesty, because all you're setting them up to do is fail. I know it sounds dark, doesn't it? But I remember this years ago. I went out with John, and again, I've said this for years, but I kind of never pushed it. And then Bo said this last year about research that's been done. John and I went to watch a Man United game, and we were in this cafe and we were chatting. And I was talking about, I said, I'm going to write a book called The Dark Art of Socialisation. And I always remember, this is like 5-6 years ago, he went, I don't want to be no part of that. Because at that time he hadn't learned that actually you need the dark art of socialisation to get through life. My son hasn't got those skills. My son, when was it? He's 21, part-time job at Birmingham Uni as a cleaner. He comes out of work, goes past the QE, bloke says to him, come here. My son goes over. Bloke says, can I go into the canteen and have a chat with you? My son goes in with him. The bloke then gives him a story about not having any money. So my son opens his wallet and to get petrol, because his wife's in hospital sick. My son hands over 20 quid. Doesn't end there. The bloke sees that he's got a wad in his wallet. The bloke talks him out of 80 quid. Then says, I'll meet you in Harborne afterwards and I'll pay you back. On the afternoon, meets him in Harborne. My son turns up. And the bloke says, I haven't got any, I haven't got the money, can I have some more? And then it was only then my son went, no, do one. Yeah? Our kids need to be taught these. So that, actually, I will share this with you. Be very careful what you wish for. You do not want your kids to be overly social if they have not got social skills, good social skills. Because society, you need the dark art of socialisation to survive. A friend of mine, I did parent courses that some of you know me from. There's all these parents kind of saying, he's always in his room, blah, 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 blah. And the mum said, be careful what you wish for. Because my son, he hooked up with a group in his area, and they got him to do an armed robbery. Be careful what you wish for. So you've got it. Aaron always tells the story of when he was a teenager, that the bad lads embraced him, and he would get him to punch people, and he'd do it. Because he hasn't got the social radar, you need somebody that's going to teach you those skills. Bad names, do any of you swear when you get stressed? Yeah? When somebody takes off the front of your car. You go, dear me, that was an awful thing to do. Okay? Threats. Do you ever threaten people? Yeah? You never threatened someone? You ever... Okay. Have you ever, so, with your Senko, you're going to go, I'm going to kill you. You ever said that?
Quite possibly.
Right. Have you ever killed them? No, because you're on tape and you have to say no. Your Honour. No, you don't. Anybody that threatens doesn't do it. Yeah? So your kids will say things like, I'm going to kill myself. Right? Sorry, this sounds really awful and it's very dark. If you're going to kill someone or you're going to kill yourself, you do it, you don't announce it to the world. Yeah? But I've threatened to kill a lot of people. And what I'm saying is, think of a dog growling. I'm saying, I'm in stress, now back off! Yeah? And that's what happens. Do any of your kids swear at you sometimes? Yeah? And they get up in your face and they go, back off! But what do? You see, you do this, it's a power play then. You can't talk to me like that! And what do? They then explode. Actually, I know this sounds counterintuitive when they tell you, oh God. Seriously? Because what they're doing is they're going, I'm in crisis, I'm about to explode, you have a choice, I will either punch you in the face, or if you back off, I might be able to diffuse myself. But you don't hear that. All you hear is that years of parenting from your parents, you need to show them who's in charge, and stand over them, and make them conform. They can't conform at this point. That's the point. It's like with your partners, isn't it? Come on, I bet you know when they're cross, don't you? And you just, like my wife, you just have to leave her alone, and then she'll fester. And she, yeah, like the other night, we went to dog training, and she's just in a foul mood, and I knew she was in a foul mood. And I had to walk the dogs by myself while they took me for a walk. And it was last night, it took her 24 hours to calm down. So you give them space, don't you? But can you see, with your kids, you don't give them space. Because they're kids, because they're dented. Sorry, because that's it, kids aren't allowed to experience this. But they should be allowed to, that's what I'm trying to say. Our kids, neurotypical kids find a way to vent appropriately. We need to teach our kids. So if your kid's dragging you round by the hair, that's a strategy that works for them. They feel better afterwards. Thank God for that. Ooh. Yeah? But that's not appropriate. So afterwards, so when they tell you to F off, okay, this is the bit of information, right? So they come up to you and go, F off! Yeah, you do. Then when they can't, you go back and say, right, Harry, I understand you're angry. No, you're going to go, Lee, that's hippie crap. You just need to, yeah, that isn't going to work. What you do is go, Harry, right, when you're angry, all you've got to do, just tell me to go away. If you tell me to go away, I will go away. But then this is what happens in schools, right? That's how you should teach it. But what happens is this. They come up to you, they're angry, you want them to do something. Harry, I need you to do your homework. And he'll go away. And you'll go, hang on. I need to talk to you for a minute. Go away. I need to talk to you. See, because he's been nice to you. See, so when he says F off, you go away. When he says go away, you go, no. That's what happens in schools, by the way. You can teach a kid to, right, what happens is, a kid, when they want to leave the classroom, they'll get really distressed, yeah? Anxiety is painful, they need to leave. So they'll throw the desk. And every time they throw the desk, they're allowed to leave. You can teach somebody to put their hand up and say, Miss, can I leave? What you can't teach is the teacher. Because I'll go, Miss, can I leave? And the teacher will go, wait. So I'll pick up the desk, I'll throw the desk, and then I'm allowed to leave. It's like Pavlov's dogs in reverse. Our kids are trained the teacher. And so what we should do is the minute they say, this is a good tool. Can I leave? Yes, you can. Oh, well, he won't stay in the classroom. Well, if you were any good, he'd come back, wouldn't he? And he'd want to stay. Interestingly, if you let people leave, they want to stay longer. If you tell people they can't leave, they then want to leave. Right, so, yeah, bad names, threats, they're all normal signs. Sheltering off. A lot of kids, any of your kids do this? This is sheltering off. So some kids might enter the classroom like this. This is just some kind of way of pushing out their environment. For example, my friend Aaron works with kids and he'll let them sit there and remove their hood when they're ready. And guess what? Do you know what? They do. We need to give kids a bit of credit. When they're ready, they'll remove the hood. Your kids as well will lock them. Any of them spend lots of time in their room? Yeah, that's perfectly normal. Brilliant quotes. Where is it? I've got the book. Oh, no, Margie's book. Oh, there it is. I just read. This is a brilliant book from Margie. I showed it. It was on the thing I showed. She's on YouTube, but there's a brilliant quote in here. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. Right, really important. Solitude is very valuable to people on the spectrum. We need it like we need food and sleep. It provides emotional and mental restoration, which allows us to continue facing the world. Think of it as meditation. Okay, our kids need to be away from people. And then if you link in with Alice Rowe talks about social energy. If you imagine neurotypical people, neurotypical children have, we all have 10 litres of energy to get through the day. When neurotypical children are at school, they use 2 litres of social energy, and then they've got 8 litres to go home, go and play, go and do whatever. Our autistic kids probably use 8 to 9 litres at school. So when they come home, that's why they're exploding. They don't want to socialise with you. They're not ready. They're drained. They don't want to go shopping on a Monday night. They don't want to visit grandma. You think these are nice activities. For some people on the spectrum, this is forced socialisation that I can't deal with right now. I need my room and I need 3 hours of PlayStation. I don't want to join clubs. I don't want to do this. I've been social all day. Why the hell would I want to be social again? And it's trying to get that. That's that whole think of what Alice said about being different. Think of the brain difference. It needs to be, and interestingly, people will be more social when they're less anxious. Okay. Self-harm, some of your children self-harm, yeah? Self-harming actually is like anaesthetic. So my friend's son, he climbed on the roof of the house, and when they said, why did you do it? He's brilliant. He said, well, when I was climbing up on the roof of the house, he said, I was really anxious. When I was climbing up on the roof of the house, I thought I was going to die. Because I thought I was going to die, I forgot about all my problems. So, but the brain has a gating system for pain. So, if you have a headache, if you hit your hand with a hammer, you forget about the headache. You focus on the biggest pain. So, you know, some of you, any of you bite your nails? That's basic self-harm. Sorry, it sounds ordinary, but it is. Anybody like tattoos? That's self-harm. You found a more appropriate way to self-harm. Some of your children will bite their arms. Biting your arms is a great, yeah, picking
your fingers and his lips.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. It's just not good because people don't like the sight of blood. If they're biting themselves and doing that, that is better than that, because that will heal. That won't if you keep doing that. Now, when they're doing that, you then try and give them an alternative strategy. You have to replace something with something. You can't just go, don't do that. You have to go, okay, do this instead. Invisible threats, yeah, special interests will go through the roof. The more stressed they are, the more they need. So a friend of mine, her son over Christmas spent the entire Christmas in his bedroom, and she was really angry. And I said, no, that he needed that to then be able to cope with going back to school. Yeah, but he needs to visit his family. No, he doesn't need to do anything. You want him to. But maybe he can't cope. And that's why then we get they go to grandma's, they're absolutely horrid. You all come home in a nightmare. Deborah Lipsky, just kind of highlight that. She will go to parties, but she goes in a separate car with her husband. And when she's had enough, she comes home. Can you see how the adults, they don't change, they just have strategies. So your kids will develop these strategies that work for them. No, that's the control bit, isn't it? We need to give them a bit more control. And with a bit more control, they then can cope. Now, there are negative ones, obviously anxiety, insecurity, not sleeping, infection, OCD increases as well. Now, this is a key one. Bo does on his lecture, it's brilliant. He talks about affect sensitivity. Some of our children struggle reading body language, but there's research that says they can sense their environment. They can sense something that you're giving off. So have you ever noticed when you're stressed in the morning, your kids slow down? Yeah? What it is, they've done studies with babies. If two babies are laying next to each other and one cries, the other one knows somebody in this room is sad and thinks it might be them, and so starts to cry. So what happens with your kids, you might find you're getting challenging behaviour when you're having a row with your partner. Because they think they're angry, and up they go. You get it with animals, horses, dogs. They don't smell fear, they sense it. So the trick in the mornings, if you know you're going to be late, you actually back off, relax, accept you're going to be late, you'll calm down, they will calm down. My one dog, you know when you pick a dog, you should never run to the litter that's in the corner cowering. Yeah. Well, my wife did that because she felt sorry for it. Right? This dog is so affect sensitive, it's amazing. Right, I have social anxiety, so basically my amygdala fires like crazy. I see danger in everything. Yeah. And every time I'm walking down the road, if I spot something that I think is a threat, I can feel internally I'm freaking out, and the dog freaks out. And my wife will go, "That's you, isn't it?" And I'm going, seriously. And that's what happens with our kids. You get fight, flight, or freeze. So some of your kids will punch you in the head, throw the desk at your head. Some of your kids will try and run out of school, run out wherever. And then the freezers, they're the ones that are most dangerous to the mental health because they implode. The imploders are not, it's not good. Now, the school think they're great because they're not doing anything, but they're struggling mental health-wise. Then you might find they'll have a breakdown, bang, then they get a diagnosis. That kind of can happen. If they're running in school, they need to give them a place to run to. Yeah.
The breakdown can also come later on in life, can't it, with those children?
Oh God, any time, yeah. Which I'll come back to that in a sec because it does fit. But yeah, think of the vibe you're giving off. So that's why when your kids are really stressed and anxious, you need to try and give off calm, which is easier said than done, I know. Okay? And then Bowie talks about low arousal. So it's things like, okay, so when I'm doing this talk, it works better than I'm standing and you're sitting. It just works that way. If you were standing and I was sitting, it wouldn't really work. But it would work as well, like you said. I could have kind of sat here and did it, yeah? But can you suddenly feel the energy drop a little bit? Yeah? This is what we call low arousal. So by just doing this, now, when I train, just so you don't fall asleep, I have a habit of forcing my voice up a bit higher, so I sound interesting. But if I was sat like this, and let's just say we talked about autism this way, it would be very difficult, wouldn't it, to pay attention. Now, if your kids are in distress, that's why you don't want to go up an octave. Talk quick! Talk quick! Let us say! Yeah? What you want to do, dial it down a bit, and then you just, you know, I don't know, there's some... Come on, let's go. Yeah? Maybe I get too soft. But by doing that, they feed off it and whoosh. So that if you do the calm, then and then things like eye contact, yeah? Because again, we stare, don't we? Okay, if eye contact lasts more than 10 seconds, there are two things that might happen. One is you end up in a very nice position, and two, violence. Okay? So if we lock eyes for longer than 10 seconds, it's trouble. You might be kicking me, or buy me dinner. Okay. But what do? We climb.